Hello, I'm currently really lacking in any ideas to make any music or video ideas, and I don't think I've uploaded in a while, well, compared to all the other videos I've uploaded, so I thought I'd do the most generic thing and just do a top 10 list. Just going over, my top 10 favorite EDM genres to listen to. Now, with some of these placements, I should mention that I've kind of cheated a little. I think I really only did it with 2, however, just, a quick little warning that I did, do this. Now, I should probably mention this, right here at the beginning, and, should be self-explanatory, since it is my top 10 favorite genres. This is opinion-based, and if you don't see any genres here, or you don't agree with anything, well, just please remember, my opinion, my favorite, they're not going to be the same as yours. And with that out of the way, let's just jump into it. Now, for my number 10 spot, I chose to put trance. Now, with trance, I've never been really too big into the genre. At first, when I was first listening to EDM, my first introductions were more heavy, bass-influenced genres. But after listening to a few more trance songs, going back and listening to those, I've kind of, started to have a bit more of a liking to it. Now, with me, starting to like trance a little bit more, it's still not a genre that I would actually say that I like, but I wanted to put it at number 10 to kind of sort of explain how I've, if you don't like a genre at first, going back to it, you can, start to like it a little bit more. And now, of course, with, how I've been learning a few things about music, learning synths, chords, all that, I've started to appreciate trance a little bit more for what it is. Now, I wanted to do a thing where I wanted to, at the end of each part, say what my favorite song from the genre would be. And I don't listen to much trance, but if I had to give it, a favorite, I would give it to AU5 Crossroads, featuring danyka nadeau. Probably butchered that. Next on my list, I decided to put house. Now, like trance, house was one of those genres that I was never into, but going back and listening to, more songs in that genre, I've, begin to, like it a little bit more. Although house a little bit more than trance. Now, I'm not talking about progressive house, deep room house, I'm talking about the core house, what it was, quote unquote, back in the day, Now, I have house a little bit lower on the list. I would have put it higher, but I guess it's kind of just, when people think of house, they always think of the subgenres, because, there's so many now. There's progressive house, deep room house, just deep house, bass house, all of that. And I think most subgenres that fall under house, I feel like kind of ruin it a little bit for me. I'm gonna have to give my favorite song to, a more mainstream audience. My favorite house track definitely has to be Some Chords by deadmau5. It's just an instant classic for me. This is what I meant, I was gonna be cheating a little bit. For my number 7 placement, I put new disco and indie dance. Now, some of you, might be able to point out that these two are actually very different genres entirely. New disco is just a more EDM updated version of disco, while indie dance is just, a way for artists to, be a little bit more creative when coming to music and stuff. And, they are very different genres, but I put them both on number 7 because I kind of see them to be very similar in a way. In the way how if I were to listen to a new disco track and an indie dance track, I would feel exactly the same way. Although liking new disco just slightly bit more, I do tend to have the same feeling when listening to both. Now, when it comes to picking a favorite track, you know, I thought I would put, you know, I would give one for each genre. You know, for my favorite new disco track, it would be Auto Magic by Televisor. But for my favorite indie dance track, it would be Pick Up the Phone by Summer Was Fun. Both really amazing tracks by really amazing people. I do strongly recommend listening to Televisor's and Summer Was Fun's music. They're both really catchy, you know, groovy, if that word still existed these days. But you know, if I was going to have to pick one of those songs, it would definitely have to be Auto Magic. Now, for number 7, again, I kind of cheated with this. However, this one is a little bit more accepting than trying to get two genres that give me the same feeling. This one is actually a lot more similar. Now, when I was writing down this list, for number 7, I just put hard. Because for this, you know, I've kind of put, you know, basically most hardstyle genres of music. You know, if it's hard dance, hard style, hard house, or just hardcore. You know, but typically the ones that would range between 140 to 160 beats per minute. Although hard dance I kind of enjoyed a little bit more, it was just more of when it came to hardcore, hardstyle, and hard house, I wasn't really fans of the heavily distorted kick drums and just the screeches rather than having a super saw lead or something. Hardstyle is a more aggressive sound. Hard house is just house music with distorted kick drums. And there's no real way to describe hardcore, it's just hardstyle, just a little bit less intense. Now, for my favorite song of this, it is the Zatox remix of Legends by Raziel featuring Teamy. Now, on the Monster Cat channel, it is labelled as a hard dance song, but I'm pretty sure it's hardstyle, you know, based on the distorted kick drums. Number 6 has to be Happy Hardcore. Now, why didn't I include this with number 7, as it does technically fall underneath the quote-unquote hard genre? Well, like I said, number 7 is for more of the hard genres that would fit between 140 to 160 BPM. Happy Hardcore is between 160 to 180 beats per minute. My first introduction to this genre was Searle or DJ S3RL, you know, and after listening to his music, the inner weeaboo inside of me was just screaming about how much I love this style of music. And then later I was introduced into Nanobii, which again made amazing music, and it was just, I don't know how to describe it. It was just, this was like one of those very few genres that when I first listened to it, it was just an instant hit. Like, I just fell in love with it immediately. Now, my favorite song, without a doubt, will have to be Bubble Beam by Nanobii. Although I could have easily picked so many from Searle and Nanobii again. You know, with Nanobii there was also Rainbow Road, and with Searle there was Pika Girl, It Went, Tell Me What You Want, MTC. Just really amazing songs to listen to. Number 5 is trap. Now, I'm not talking about this, or this. When I say trap, I mean more bass genres of trap. Now, trap was a genre that I would listen to like one or two songs from a genre and I would like it, but then every other genre to me just kind of sucked and I never really liked it. But you know, you keep diving into these genres and you find more and more songs that just kind of reach out to you and, you know, scream, you know, that they are good. Now, I'm stuck between, again, two songs that I just cannot pick from to say is my favorite, so I don't know if you want to put in the description which your favorite would be. I don't know. But the two that I have to pick is I don't know if I wanted to pick the more kitchen step style trap, as weird as that sounds, Nemesis by Rogue, which is a really amazing song to listen to, or if I wanted to go more of a classical bass styled trap and go with Heartless by Slips and Slurs. Now, Rogue doesn't do as many trap songs, but Slips and Slurs is an amazing artist, you know, who's done plenty of trap and dubstep songs, and I do recommend checking him out. Coming in at number 4 is another 4 to the floor style genre, and that is electro. Now, like house, electro has many different styles and subgenres that are just classed as electro rather than their own separate name. Now, because of this, it's kind of hard to try and explain what electro I like. You know, I always think of it as a more slowed down tempo version of dubstep. Although dubstep is half-timed, electro isn't, you know, just how BPMs and techno works. I always found electro to be my slower version of dubstep and other bass genres, and I just really love it. And you know, it's one of those genres that have lived on for so long. Like, over the years it keeps coming back in a new style. Like, at first it would just be like a single buzzing bass on different notes, then it came out as a more dubsteppy, complextro style, then it started taking on the form of house. You know, no matter like what era you're in, electro just always seems to come back, you know. Now, I cannot pick a favorite song for this, like many others, but I do have 4 that I really do love, all by different artists that I do recommend listening to, and that's Hot Pursuit by Tut Tut Child, Kick Out the Epic Motherfucker by Dada Life, Free For All by Shark Attack, and Top of the World 2 by Stephen Morgan. Well, looks like we've made it to the top 3 now.
Hello.
And for number 3, I put dubstep. Now, I know a lot of people would be a little bit upset by that. You know, oh, why are you listening to dubstep? It's just noise. It's not real EDM. You know, and I can understand why, but I could basically say the same for electro, trap, glitch hop, moombaton, moombacore. You know, just because it bases itself on a lot of sounds that you really wouldn't consider to be music, a lot of people consider it not to be music. But I love it either way. Dubstep was actually my first introduction into the whole EDM genre with Skrillex. And upon listening to more, I found a lot more different styles outside of bro step. You know, there was wobble basses, there was bro step, rhythm, melodic dubstep. You know, there are very different styles and, you know, subgenres of dubstep to be listening to. You know, and dubstep has also provided a lot of artists. Some that come to mind are Slushii, Kill the Noise, Skrillex, Tut Tut Child, Rogue, Halo Nova, Ephixa, and for me, most importantly, pegboard nerds. Now, dubstep will always hold a special place in my heart, just for it being the introduction to EDM for me, and being able to stay strong for how long it has so far. Now, of course, since it being the top 3, it is a lot more difficult to say if I do have a favorite song within the genre. You know, with all the other ones I've been saying, if I do have a favorite, or if they're ones that I would strongly recommend to people. Now, if I would have to give a favorite for dubstep, I would give it to 3 songs that I have been more frequently listening to lately, and that's Rockers by Kill the Noise, Self-Destruct by Pegboard Nerds, and the slushii remix of Alone by Marshmello. Now, Alone was a very overrated, very mainstream song as is. However, I feel like slushii and his dubstep remix on it gave it a little bit more power, and I actually love slushii's remix over everybody else's. Number 2 is future bass, and I'm not talking about Garrix, Flume, Chainsmokers. I'm not talking about future bass where it's distorted or weirdly sounding wobble chords with vocal chops over it and possibly a trap beat to go along with it. I'm talking more of the side of kawaii future bass, or future bass that focuses more on the melody or the vibe that the song gives, rather than the root wobble chords over a trap beat sort of future bass. I love this one a little bit more because it focuses more on the feeling of a future bass rather than more of this is how you make future bass and this is how you should only make it, in a way. A future bass, you know, people just usually think, oh, it's just trap, but it sounds a little bit more happy. However, I feel like future bass is kind of its own separate thing from trap. I just love future bass for the artists as well, you know, like I said in dubstep there was slushii, he does a lot of future bass, and there's Hyper Potions, Snails House, Subtact, Casbo, Dion Custom. Even Pegboard Nerds with their Pink Cloud EP focus a lot more on future bass sounds, which was really good to hear. Now, I prefer the more kawaii based side of future bass just because I like to hear more melodies or more styles being used. You know, you go into the mainstream and you look up a future bass song, it's just the same repetitive thing over and over again. Like, the sounds and the layout may change, but the way you still make it is still there. But on the more kawaii side of things, there's a lot of samples and references for anime, games, cult following shows and films, and it's just good to hear those in a song rather than a typical story about relationship troubles or drug abuse. Now, I can't give a favorite to this, although with I've said that on others, and I gave one for dubstep, I gave one for trap and everything. I honestly cannot give one for future bass, although I could give an artist I really like, and that's Hyper Potions. Now, these two guys are amazing at what they do with their music, and I feel like how they come out with their future bass songs is just truly amazing, and I could not stress enough how much I recommend you listen to them.
Stand the fuck up!
Drum and bass and drum step. I love these genres. Although technically two different ones, I've grouped them together as drumstep is basically just drum and bass at half the tempo with more dubstep elements. However, it's fair to say that both of them could just be the same genre, as they fit the same BPM, the same style. It's just incredible, and that these two genres have produced many amazing artists. Like just to name a few, there's Pendulum, Netski, Droptech, Rootkit. There's this new person who I've been listening to, Flyke, who I really can only think of two drum and bass songs that they've made that I absolutely love. And then at the top is Muzzy. There are no words to describe how much respect I have for this person as an artist. It's just practically every song he makes, and I listen to it, it is pure gold. If somebody came up to me and said, if you pick one artist, he is guaranteed to be number one of the top 100 DJ and music producers, without a fucking doubt, I would pick Muzzy. There are so many great songs that have come from this person. There was Get Crazy, Warhead, Dust Devil. There was his newer song, New Age, which was amazing. Feeling Stronger. Now, this being my number one genre, at this point I could just say I love every song that has ever been made. However, there are three songs that really do stand out to me as my favorite, and that is Make Me Worse by Kings of the City, Muzzy remix. There was Muzzy's newer song that was released, which was New Age featuring Cell Dweller, which is amazing. And the other drum and bass song that I really love is actually a more chill song, and that is We Love by Ramis B. Panic, causing panic in a manic manner. What a controversial, like the origins of